This is a review for The Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 1. Solid first episode this season. They said that they were going to take the zombies to a whole new level this season, and they're making really strong on that promise right off the bat. The herd was amazing to see, and the tearing of the walker's skin was just disgustingly awesome. Happy we're seeing characters work through their issues, such as Sasha and Abraham. These people should be royally fucked up and a little unstable. I was a little unsure about the black and white flashbacks at first, and then I realized what they were doing. If they would have shown the aftermath of Season 5 and then went into the herd problem, the episode might have seemed a little bit slow, but by mixing in the flashbacks of what happened after the Season 5 finale, along with dealing with the herd problem, we actually had a really good mix of dialogue and action, and I think that's really important because there's a lot of people that complain about episodes that are slow, and if it would have been all dialogue discussing what happened at the finale and the aftermath, it would have bogged the episode down, and this way they had a really nice balance of dialogue and figuring out what happened, but at the same time having action and walkers and all that disgusting stuff that we love to see. And as the episode went on, I began to see how the flashbacks were actually really working with the present day current scenes, such as Glenn and Nick working together. Seeing the flashbacks and how they got to that point really made them working together that much more powerful. That being said, I do not trust Nick one bit. His transformation is too sudden. Maybe he really is a spineless wimp that bends to others' wills, but that also means when it's advantageous for him, he'll switch again. Of course, maybe he did have an epiphany in the woods when trying to kill Glenn and he's on the straight and narrow now. But I am placing bets that he will be dead by the end of the season. Maybe not while being a villain, but maybe while redeeming himself, such as he gives his life to save someone else, but I think he'll be dead by the end of the season. The real-life Lemming game was quite fun to watch. I kind of wish they would have went another direction with the herd, such as the herd was coming towards Alexandria and they had to divert them away. It makes a lot more sense than, oh hey, they're in this area and we're going to now lead them out somewhere else. I don't know, it kind of seems like a dick move. I understand everyone's out for themselves, but leading them out of that area to go, let's say, 20-25 miles away from Alexandria kind of just gives the problem to somebody else. I thought for sure they were going to make some system where they just kept looping in a circle around and then occasionally falling off the cliff and then more and more of them died or something. I realize resources are really low, so they don't necessarily have what it takes to take care of that many walkers, so I guess the next best thing is, hey, let's lead you away from Alexandria somewhere else if you end up hitting another group of survivors. Oh well, that's the survival game you play. And did anyone else think Daryl was hilarious during this whole plan? He's just riding in front of the herd with this bored expression. Just another day in Zombieland for Daryl. I like the new character Heath. I like a couple of the new characters they have. I'm kind of interested to see how they develop, but Heath in particular, and I'll go more into him with my comics versus show video that will be released later. But the only thing I didn't like about him is the looks he was giving Eugene. Like, come on, dude. They're new people. Good first impressions. Just giving him weird looks when he's trying to compliment your hair, which was an awesome line. I respect your hair game. But giving Eugene weird looks and kind of like, ugh, is not how you make friends. So that part was, I don't know, I didn't like it as much. But I am excited to see where they take Heath. I'm enjoying Morgan being back, and he's some sort of Jedi now. He's all patient and wise, and he can sense disturbances in the Force, or when Rick is doing something shady. I like that he called out Carol and, told her, I know you're watching people. I know there's more to you than this innocent woman handing out cookies and water, and I have my eye on you. And Carol even seemed to be a bit taken aback by his observation, and I love her "Aren't you sweet?" which is the southern way, well, one of the southern ways of saying, fuck you. I really want to see how Morgan learned his fighting skills and the person that helps him, and I have a couple ideas from the comics who may have been that person to teach Morgan. I'm happy we're still seeing some resistance from the original Alexandria citizens. accepting a new group. I mean, how easy would it be to accept a new group that seems to have a really brutal leader? People would resist, and I'm glad that they're showing that, and some people saying, hey, we need to get them out of here. They're not good for this community, and they're gonna get us killed. They're trying to change our way of life. It's worked out so well for us up until they started coming, and then look at all the disasters that have befallen us. Carter wanting Rick and Co.'s group out makes sense. I do think Carter was willing to take it a little bit further than the rest of the people there at his little meeting. I think they just wanted to be there to kind of like gripe and say, oh yeah, blah blah blah, we don't like this change, because a lot of people like to talk, but they don't like to necessarily take actions to resolve the problems. And without a doubt, he was about to kill Eugene before Rick showed up. I have no doubt about that, and I think they pretty much confirmed that on The Talking Dead. And let us not forget that his little Kill Rick and Co. meeting got us an awesome line when Rick came in. Do you have any idea who you're talking to? Rick showing mercy was a little bit unexpected, but his reasoning made sense and helped show us his state of mind. He sees the people of Alexandria as already dead. He's just trying to keep them alive as long as possible. Which is probably, with all of Morgan's disapproving looks, leading to Morgan, Daryl, and Michonne sort of being Rick's moral compass and helping bring out what humanity is left in Rick. Daryl is pushing to keep searching for people even though Rick wants them to stop. Daryl is trying to let Rick know they should still try and find and save people. They can still have their humanity and empathy while surviving, and I think Daryl tried to get that across in the perfect amount of non-aggression, because I think if Daryl would have been really aggressive about it and been like, no, we need to do this, you're wrong, Rick would have kind of walls up, no, you're listening to me, this is what's happening. But I think because Daryl was like, yeah, this is what I think, but you know, you can do what you want, I'm just letting you know that perhaps, and he gave a little poke here or there, and it made Rick calm down and think about it and try to see Daryl's perspective, and I think that was the best way for him to go about it. The meeting about the herd had a few fun moments. I loved Rick absolutely shutting Gabriel down, and then earlier in the episode we saw Deanna telling him he's wrong, so Gabriel knows that he's been an ass and he's made some mistakes, and he's trying to work on adding to the community instead of taking away, which is he's been doing quite a bit. And I just love it when Rick shuts him down and was like, no, who else? And Gabriel's just like, didn't even try to fight Rick on it, was just like, okay. I'm wondering about Glenn wanting Maggie to stay behind, especially when Maggie says that's not the only reason. Two thoughts: does he want her to keep an eye on Deanna and make sure nothing bad happens while they are away, such as with Gabriel or anything else? Or is he referring to Maggie being pregnant? I kind of got a little bit of Prego vibes there. Rick got a lot of flack this episode. Did anyone else notice that? You can't talk to him like that. I'm pretty sure Rick can. Your idiot son went out there and could have gotten himself killed, and Rick was trying to save his life. I get that Rick killed his father, but what do you want Rick to say? Hey, I know I killed your dad after you killed someone else, so I have no right to say anything to you. Carry on out here and die, young, inexperienced man. No, Rick is going to tell him what he needs to hear, regardless of how he feels about him. And maybe being a teenager who's really fucking pissed off about his dad being killed by him won't listen, but that doesn't mean that Rick is going to stop from trying to save him and letting him know what's going on. And then Morgan was kind of giving Rick the shifty eyes about taking out Carter. It's not like Rick immediately stabbed him in the back of the head. He actually waited quite a bit, trying to calm Carter down and saying, hey, shh. He tried to cover his mouth, and Carter just was panicking, and so Rick, one, put him out of his misery, and two, did it because he didn't want the whole plan to be derailed. And it just was kind of weird that Michonne and Morgan had these looks of, oh, Rick, especially given that Michonne has killed someone when they were panicking or shouting herself, so she has no room to talk when it comes to that. Now I wonder, is this going to cause Rick to get heat back at Alexandria? Are they going to hear about Carter dying and then, you know, put two and two together, be like, well, Carter opposed him and then he died on this mission. That's a little suspicious, and will that turn more people against him? I'd imagine with the chaos that's going to be happening in Alexandria, it's it's going to be forgotten about. It won't come back to bite him in the butt. I mean, it could, but it doesn't seem very likely. And then the biggest question this episode, what was the horn at the end? Was it a distress signal? I find it really hard to believe that the people of Alexandria would have such a loud horn to signal them back. At this point, I'd imagine they'd know not to do that. As stupid as they are, that just seems a really stupid thing to do. And you would think that Rick and company would know about the alarm, or someone else would have told them about it. Hey, if anything goes south here, we'll set this alarm off and let you know. And Rick would be like, hey, that's not a good idea unless this is a crazy emergency. I'd also imagine they'd have a different signal in place, such as walkie-talkies or something, set up so that they wouldn't have to use something like that. My best guess is it's the wolves purposely sabotaging their efforts. They saw most of their strong people outside the gates and thought this was the perfect time to weaken their defenses or attack the town. And we've seen the wolves using zombies as weapons and music/noise to control them. The horn also sounded like a typical 18-wheeler, which is what they also were shown using. They may even have an informant in Alexandria. Cough, Enid, cough. Favorite parts in this episode? I ask and you answer. That's common courtesy. That is the same dialogue between Rick and Morgan in the very first episode of Walking Dead and was such a cool callback to it. And the protein bars. I love that Michonne denied eating the protein bars, even though she clearly did all the way back in season 3. It just was a really cute interaction. Predictions: the wolves are going to show the people of Alexandria how much they need Rick and co. Nick is going to be a goner by the end of the season, and I think Maggie's pregnant. I think I'm calling this one. Come back later for Comics vs. Show, which is exactly like what I did last year, except I'm in front of the camera, and it's just showing some of the differences and similarities between the comics and this episode. It's not saying either is better at all, it's just a fun look and comparison. Besides that, make sure you come back Sunday and Wednesday for Game of Thrones videos, Thursday for comic videos, and eventually Monday and Friday for Star Wars.